Hello, welcome back to Literary Gladiators. My name is Maddie, and I'm here today with some rapid fire book reviews of the last two books that I read this month. First, we have Pure Color by Sheila Heti and Nightshift by Kaire Ladner. I hope I'm saying their names right. So I apologize in advance because probably not. So first off, we'll talk about Pure Color. This is kind of a book about like the beginning of the world, love, relationships between family and friends, a father and a daughter, life. It was very philosophical and introspective in a way. It was really wonderfully weird in a way. Like, there's a lot of weird parts that, maybe put a little bit of a question mark in your mind. Not just about life, but about relationships, about different types of people and how they love, how they go through life and their relationships with other people. It was really lyrical and poetic. Reading the whole thing, I had to take breaks in between because a lot of times the prose was just so dense in a way, with thought-provoking and philosophical thoughts that you're just like, wait one sec, I need to digest this because it's a lot. So it starts off with God creating the world, and he's like an artist, and this world is his first creation. And it kind of explores the idea of getting a second draft of the world and how that would look, and how things should change or would change to make the world a better place and relationships better. It's really interesting, the theme of art in this, because the main character, Mira, she went to school to become an art critic. And again, they explore this whole idea of God being an artist, creating life and the world that we live in. So in a way, I feel like Mira, going through her life and the life experiences, she's almost not criticizing God, but critiquing the art of life in a way, which I thought was really cool. There is a lot to do with the relationship between Mira and her father, especially after her father dies, which I believe I read Sheila Heti wrote this over 7 years or so, and a lot of it did come from, or her personal life did reflect in this because she did lose her father. So I'm thinking that a lot of those ideas and musings, introspection, had a lot to do with what she was going through in her own life, and it does reflect back. I found that part there was a lot of conversations between Mira's father's spirit and herself. I found that part to be a little bit not slow, but I found that to be my least favorite part of the book. So another big theme of this book it's related to the fact that God created people in the image, or not image, but she describes people as one of three animals: a bear, a fish, or a bird. So Mira is a bird, her father is a bear, and her love, Annie, is a fish. So, and it talks about the different ways that they love and how they view the world. It's in different ways. The bear is very attached and family orientated and loyal, whereas a bird flies over and likes to see things from a bird's eye view, and a fish is very focused on the betterment of a whole, not so selfish as a bird or a bear is in terms of their relationships. They want the betterment for everyone as a whole, kind of like a school of fish. They all work together, all are there for each other kind of thing. So in that way, it's interesting also to think about there are different types of people, and how they interact with the world is different, and she explores that. Overall, I would say I really love a lot of the different quotes and beautiful lyricism of this, of the prose, but a lot of it is really deep and philosophical, so it's not like an easy read that you can get through like in a weekend, you know. It does make you think. It does take a little bit longer ruminating over what she's saying. So, and it's a little bit weird, you know, there's some weirdness there, but overall it was really good. I liked it. I would love to read this over again, because I think that this is a book that no matter how many times you read it, you'll always find something new. You'll always have something new to think about. So I like those types of books. All right, next up we have Nightshift by Kaire Ladner. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm really sorry if I'm not. It's about a woman who's from South Africa and living in London. Her name is Maggie, and she meets a coworker, Sabine, who is totally alluring to her, and she decides to kind of drop everything that she knows to follow this girl to a night shift, working at a night shift for their job. So she kind of has this like obsession with Sabine, and like it's their whole relationship throughout the book. It kind of explores their relationship and their relationship with their friends, and I think Maggie's relationship with herself and like finding her own identity, whereas it's a little bit twisted, a little more twisted than that, because she's obsessed with this girl. She tries to emulate her. She wants to be with her. Like there's like a lot of bit of toxicity going on in this book, from both of them, from Maggie and Sabine. But Sabine is like this like very mysterious and wild and free version of a person that Maggie wants to be. So like I said, she tries to emulate her. It's like they're pulled to each other for some reason. So it goes through their adventures and mishaps, and yeah, it's kind of like Maggie coming to terms with who she is, how she fits into the world, how she wants to fit into the world, and how that all relates to Sabine and her relationship with Sabine. It's weird because she kind of totally changes everything about her entire existence for this one girl. And then at the end, spoiler alert, she kind of finds out she doesn't necessarily want Sabine or want to be her per se. It's like the magic kind of wears off, and in that I think that she finds herself and her own identity, and she's like happy with where she is and who she is. There is a climax point there where it is a little bit of a trigger warning. It's a sexual assault, so fair warning. That is kind of like the turning point for Maggie, where she's like, I don't know, this is like, the magic is gone, you know, this awful thing happened to me. It's like everything switches at that point. I thought it was interesting because it kind of explores like the idea of how if you don't have a good hold on your identity, it's easy to kind of lose who you are and, you know, lose yourself in someone else. So this idea of like knowing who you are and being okay with that, even if you want to reinvent yourself or, you know, work on your identity or like, or change things, you know, there's still like that goal in knowing yourself well enough that you won't get lost in another person, which I think Maggie kind of, the character arc, she figures it out at the end finally, but in the process we get to go through that, her viewpoint of feeling lost or intoxicated by this woman and the adventures and, like I said, mishaps that go on. So it was really interesting. I liked it. This was like, as much as it does, it sounds like it really dives deep into some important topics, I'd say that it's really easy to read, and I zoomed through it. So it's really well written in that sense. Like you go through this huge change and journey as Maggie, but it's interesting enough that you, and also like introspective in that way. There's not a lot of like, there's a lot of action still. So it's kind of a quick read in that way. So those are my two rapid fire book reviews for you, of Pure Color and Nightshift. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you guys back here on Literary Gladiators. I look forward to seeing you guys back here on Literary Gladiators in the future. Thank you.